What's up, guys? This is Dragon. You're watching Dragon Off-Road. I just did an automatic transmission fluid change on my GX470 Lexus Land Cruiser Prado, basically, and changed out the transmission fluid. I got about 3 quarts out, and then I overfilled it by about a quart, so I went through about 4 quarts of this Toyota ATF-WS. And it's really good stuff. I would recommend using, what the manufacturer produces for this transmission, because they know best. They built it, and it was a pretty easy job. It probably took me, you could probably get it done in an hour. I wanted to show some cool little things, like a tool I made to get the fluid into the fill hole of the transmission, which is a 24mm plug on the passenger side of the transmission, about halfway up next to the exhaust manifold. And so basically this is the cap of one of these. I punch 2 holes in it, and you hook one end up to your shop air, just with a very slight amount of air pressure, like as little air pressure as you can get. I changed my little valve. Basically you can open or close that to get, just the slightest hiss of air, because you don't want to burst these containers and get transmission fluid everywhere. And I used a long flexible piece of hose with a piece of copper wire in this. I saw this in somebody else's video, and it's just a really great idea, so I wanted to kind of demonstrate it here. So this is just the used fluid that I took out of the transmission. I'll just swap it from one container to the other just to show you guys kind of the speed that we're working with this thing. So you would run this hose into your fill hole. I did it last time with the transmission cooler lines, but I wanted to check the level this time, and it ended up being probably 2/10 of a quart underfilled. But basically I'm going to hook my shop air gun up to this hose, kind of compress the fluid in this container, and it'll want to shoot out of that hose that's at the bottom of the little jug there. And you'll see the container kind of puff up a little bit as you compress it. You don't want to puff it too much because it could burst or whatever. You could spill fluid out. But if you look at the side there, you see that the fluid's going in pretty quick. It takes less than about a minute per quart using this method. You see kind of how dirty my old transmission fluid was. The new stuff was nice and cherry red. So just about through that quart of fluid. And so then you would rinse and repeat with the other 3 quarts. And yeah, the torque specs on those bolts, there's the check bolt, which is a 5mm Allen wrench plug, and it's 15 foot-pounds of torque. I just kind of hand torqued that with the Allen wrench, got it snug. There's the drain bolt, which is a 14mm bolt, and that's 21 foot-pounds of torque. And then there's the fill bolt, which is a 24mm plug, and it takes about 29 foot-pounds based on somebody else's post on the forums. I did not have new crush washers, but I have this kit of copper washers, and I just found one that was basically the perfect size to replace the drain and fill plug washers, or the drain and check plug washers, and then the O-ring on the fill plug looked fine, so I just kept that. But yeah, you want to undo the fill and the check bolt, drain out whatever comes out of the check bolt, which is about a quart with the engine off. And then I opened up the drain bolt, drained out another couple of quarts. I added 4 quarts into the fill port after reinstalling the drain plug. And then I jumped the pins on the OBD sensor to put the car into the transmission check mode, and you'll see the lights on your dash kind of flash when you do that. I'll put up a picture of the pins to cross to get that to come up, but basically you jump those pins on the OBD plug, and then you turn on the car, put your foot on the brake, put the transmission in neutral, and then switch to drive, neutral, drive, neutral, drive, neutral, and you should see the AT temp light come on, and then you put it in park, and you should see the AT temp light come on again, and then it'll go off. And then when it starts flashing and it comes on fully, then that's when your transmission is up to temp, and you want to open the overflow plug with the car running in park with that AT temp light illuminated in the transmission check mode. So it's a lot of stuff to keep in mind, but I had about 0.8 quarts come out after I opened the check bolt. I had nothing come out the first time, so I added the 4th quart and then had 0.8 quarts come out until it got to a dribble, and then I reinstalled the bolt to the check port. And these are just some of the tools I used: a torque wrench in inch-pounds, and 5mm Allen key with a breaker thingy, and a 24mm socket, a 14mm socket, and that's pretty much it. So you could get the right drain plug washer, or you can just get some of these copper washers and throw one of them on there. This should be fine. You know, I had this kit, but it just didn't have the right shape and size for my drain plugs. I thought it would, but it didn't, so copper is the next best thing. It's good enough for brake lines, should be good enough for transmission. And so yeah, now it's I know that the level in the transmission is perfect, and make sure your frame rails are level when you're doing this service, because you need the transmission to be perfectly level to get the right level out of the overflow bolt. So do this in a garage or a shop with a nice flat floor and check the level of your frame rails. Anyways, hope this helps somebody out there. It was a pretty easy job to do, but there's just a lot of little things that you have to remember. You know, the torque specs and all the different, you know, things you have to do to check the level the correct way, because there's a lot of ways you could check it the wrong way, like with the car off, or, you know, who knows. Anyways, I hope this helps you, and make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. As always, I'm Dragon, and I'll see you guys next time. Have a good one. Thanks for watching.